All right, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I was having a little bit of trouble with getting my phone to actually be able to unmute and everybody be able to hear me. Um, so I want to, I know this is a little bit of an impromptu AMA or discussion piece here, but I found it, from time to time when we have something that's very important that needs to be spoken on quickly, or when things are moving quickly, we take the opportunity to be transparent and to, put out there what's going on and kind of help put a full scope to the picture, especially when there's different things that are going on where there's cherry picked conversations or this or that. So just wanted to address some of the things with Pulse and what's going on, give an opportunity for questions. You all know that when we come into certain things like this, if we have to sit here 2 or 3 hours and answer every question under the sun someone has, we'll do that. So, I want to start off by giving a little bit of background on Pulse. If you haven't had the opportunity you're not sure what's going on or what they're talking about, who said what. Our Pulse devs, which are not Matt. Matt is working on the front end of the platform and smart contracts, but the two devs that were helping with the trading bot, and the three devs that were helping with strategy, essentially the simple of it is that they quit and they quit with a little bit of gusto, so to say. We're obviously we run a pretty tight ship here at Vault Finance, and we have high expectations for everyone on the team. Some of those expectations are tough and stressful, but that's how innovation has to go. We have to push, and everybody has to be able to do their role and know their role and be able to accomplish what they're set to accomplish. Period. If they're not, then you guys already know we've had before. They removed off the team, and we get with people who are competent and able to accomplish. Um, well, after some of these discussions and some of them being a little heated, I guess the simple of it, it seems that some of these individuals have decided to start a little FUD campaign and throw it out there and come like they are, angels of DeFi, but really, there's more to it that's going on in the background. So without I guess with remaining with maintaining a professional posture, I will, uh, I guess, describe some of the things that are going on and try not to add any sort of bias or anything to it. But I guess firstly, it seems that we have come under, and specifically me, and of course because I'm the CEO, that's the way it is. You come under fire, and if people want to hurt an organization or something like that, usually you go after the head of the organization. It's something that I'm used to. It's not too big of a deal. I mean, it does hurt my heart personally that people attack me, because I try to do what's in the best interest of our investors and our team and everybody involved. Uh, but there's people who want to throw dirt on me to discredit, and that's fine, and that's kind of a personal thing in my opinion. I think I've spent enough time in this space that people know where my intentions lie and how we operate and how we hold certain standards. So I think people can pretty much draw conclusions from that in there. We did have some fun in the past before that's kind of similar to this in certain ways, but I don't know. I don't know if there's any association there. But one thing I can speak on is that obviously these devs that we had are no longer with us with Vault Finance, and they decided to take a few swings on their way out. As far as Pulse goes, the funds that people invested, that have not been refunded back yet. So these are people who are still remaining, keeping their investments there to be used for Pulse and to be to their accounts, things like that. There's been no hacks, no sort of issues with smart contracts or anything like that. Those funds are safe. Those funds have been pooled into our secondary business wallet, which again, that's public information. Our primary and secondary business wallets, we transparently put those BSC addresses out there. That way everybody knows what those funds look like and that they're safe and all of that good stuff. So we can post in our primary, or we can post in the community that BSC address so that everybody knows that that money is there. So firsthand transparent, we can do that. That's not a problem at all. Uh, as far as the rest of things that we're doing with Pulse, we have a trading bot that does exist, that is prepared. There is some foundational things that are being changed to kind of make it more robust. We have multiple centralized exchanges that we're getting set up with. We have Bybit, and we also have MEXC, although APIs on MEXC, specifically ones that are paired to USDT, are down. They're changing, tick amounts and minimum tick amounts and different things like that, updates that they have to do. Originally, they claimed that that was going to be, 2 weeks, and then it turned into 2 more weeks. And now they're saying it could be months and months. So, our first intuition was correct to take the opportunity when we were first delayed with this problem of the APIs to just move on to our primary strategies being executed on a new centralized exchange that has the liquidity to handle different things, and then to continue to roll out new exchanges, new centralized exchanges that we do business on, that we can take advantage of certain strategies on. So obviously, I said Binance was one of them. We're going for an institutional type of setup with Binance. That is a tough one. Binance by far has asked a million more questions of us, some things that I think they shouldn't even be privy to, like, my personal income amounts and things like that, which has nothing to do with the business because we don't commingle funds whatsoever. Uh, but and none of the funds for Vault Finance are derived from me personally. So it's kind of an obtuse question for them to be asking, but in good faith, we understand that they're under the gun, and they also, want to hold us to whatever standard they feel is necessary. So we're doing all of those things. Shouldn't be too much longer there. We're looking at Gate.io, a couple of different other ones that we're putting into play as well. With what's going on with the trading bot, there's only a limited amount of people who have access to that. Obviously, that code is precious. It's robust. It's not something that you just put it out there for everyone to be able to just cut and paste. There's obviously a competition element to it where if we were to just sublease or subsell this bot to other people, they would be inherently competing with other people with the same bot. So there's only a few people that have access to it, and those are our trading bot devs, Matt on our team, and Lee on our team. We're also working with security guys, security guys who work with, FBI, CIA. They have, Fortune 100 companies, different things like that to help bounty hacker, pretty much hacker test our networks, different things that we do to ensure that the safety is there as well. Unfortunately, we ran into a position where our strategy devs were, I guess, history on them is they were actually looking to build a platform similar to us, but they did not have the same type of platform publicly that we do. And so it was in both of our best interests at the time that we could utilize the strategies that they were building. They're very good at putting those strategies together, and also utilize our guys that work on the bots, or to be able to, have a nice little assembly line, you could say, of building a strategy, back testing it, bringing it live if it passes all of those, and then it moving over to our trading bot guy to implement that, and to really be able to beef up our return. Of course, like we said before, we started off with small amounts. It doesn't make sense that your first strategy that you roll out, and you test in mainnet, that you test in real life against real competition on real centralized exchanges, that you don't just throw a few million on there and cross your fingers and hope that that's a very good strategy. You start to build these strategies slowly, then you start to implement, secondary, tertiary strategies that complement it, and across multiple exchanges, and it just becomes more and more robust as you go along. So um, obviously, months ago, we're working with smaller amounts, and really trying to ensure that everything made sense and that we were straightforward with what we were trying to raise, how we were trying to build this platform, how we were trying to protect this platform, and things like that. These devs have called all of that into question. Again, acting like they come with no ulterior motives, but they were trying to build a platform similar to Pulse themselves. I can't tell you if what their intentions are, if whether they want to roll out this platform and try to burn ours down, or what. All I can really say is that the front side is robust. The trading bot is good. We could still continually always use more and more strategies to grow it out and make it more robust. But we were having some pretty good success, which is kind of shocking to me that this came up right now as it did. But granted, we did have a few meetings in privacy where I did have to kind of jump down some of these devs' throats a little bit to make sure everybody is doing their job right. And also, we call as a team, we called into question some of the small FUD campaigns that were going on behind the scenes in certain small groups, where innocent investors were being told one thing, and then coming to me or other core team members asking, "Hey, what's going on with this or that?" And would catch me off guard. So I said, "You know what? Pull me into the room." And so I would go into the room and set matters straight, and set, some people had a conspiracy theory that these trading bots didn't even exist, when they're in the GitHub and Matt and Lee are on there and everything. So when it comes down to it, these are all things that we're having to combat. Obviously, Pulse is a game changer. I think anyone who has done a little bit of research on it knows that it's going to be a big deal, not just for Vault Finance, but for our neighborhood and uh, for crypto in general. We have the opportunity to work with Lloyd's of London. Some of the reasons why you guys haven't seen me being super, super active nonstop like I usually am. So I'm having to do a lot of different meetings to get the insurance in place. It's not very difficult to draw the conclusion that an insurance company is not going to align themselves with someone that they would deem risky, or with a platform they deem is risky. That's just not how insurances make money if they think they have to pay money out, or that something doesn't work. So to be able to be in the same conversations with Lloyd's of London, um, you know, in my opinion, shows the robust and trustworthiness that we have, to be able to work with underwriters like them, to have the opportunity to work with underwriters like them. So, I want to definitely make that point as well. But the other thing that I want to do is just lay out there and allow you guys to ask questions, because obviously, I didn't go through too much of the FUD that people are writing there. I saw some of these little documents where they're obviously attacking me. They're obviously attacking Pulse. They're obviously saying, "Hey, we're trying to help everybody and do what's right," and blah blah blah. But in all honesty, I think there's more of a malicious motive behind that intent than really a call to help DeFi. But I want to open it up, and we'll just do a little bit of questions. Y'all already know that when things come up with these AMAs, that I take every opportunity to answer whatever questions in real time. We have it recorded. I have no questions doing that because, again, we do everything transparently. Uh, and so I think what might be a good mode of action is to just allow you guys to ask whatever questions you may have, and then we can just field a response or a conversation from there. Because ultimately, when it comes down to it, and I say this in all of our AMAs, Vault Finance stands for transparency, professionalism, and superior utility. So we're going to build things that people can't do or they won't do, whatever the case is. We're building things that make money. We're professionals. We're not people who play games or mess around with people. Doesn't mean that we don't have a funny or character side to us. I mean, definitely Mason and Ross do, but the point is that we're professionals and we're trying to better this space, and that has been our masthead and our guiding light from day one. Those are really the pillars of what we stand for in everything we do. So um, we're going to take every opportunity we can to answer whatever questions you all have. So if you're muted, just raise your hand. I'll pull you up. If you're not muted, I would say raise your hand or shout out. Anyways, if you're a shy guy, feel free to drop a question in the chat. I don't know if the primary chat is open or not. We just didn't want people to run in and start slinging mud, either intentionally or unintentionally. So that's the reason why we put a pause on the room, so that we could get a handle of exactly what these people are trying to do, and maybe if we can hog tie them a little bit from doing the different things, whatever type of malice they're trying to throw out there, to try to make that harder for them. But we'll go ahead and take some questions, and we'll go from there. And I think someone who's already raising their hand is Valley Tenders. Go ahead.
Hey, bud. These guys may be disgruntled and have malicious intent, but is anything that they're saying true? Is there any facts to anything that they're putting out? Uh, Mainly to the tax structure and kind of, I guess, your personal background.
Well, I will say that I've gone through KYC. The whole team has. Some of these new guys, one of the conversations we had the other day was to ensure that everybody on the Pulse team, whether they had access to money or not, whether they had access to the wallets or the bot or not, but everybody, we want them KYC'd. And with that KYC comes a background check, both domestically and internationally. Anonymous doesn't play around. So we all pass that. And the only ones that have not been KYC'd yet, and that's just because they just joined the team, are the three new ones, with the three new ones that have come on the strategy side. And then Kevin on the bot side is out of Germany, I believe. And he's Germany or Austria. I think he's Germany. But in his country, their background checks are done a little differently, and he has to physically go into an office and do things like that in a certain city, or in a certain way. And so his everything on his is done except for that piece of the background check, because again, it's unlike with us, and especially in the US, where it can just be done digitally and online. That's not the case with them for some reason. So his has an extra bit of difficulty as far as the flow of being able to do that. Some of the things that they have posted are direct snapshots of what came out of the dev chat. Unfortunately, they are kind of cherry pick snapshots, which again, I haven't read through every single one of them, but I kind of got the gist of them formulate a uh, trying to formulate a storyline that I just cared about bringing money on the platform, I guess, to try to steal it or something, and that we wanted to wreck people or something like that, which of course makes no sense why our core team would put in 60-hour 40-hour weeks. Me personally, I've put in probably more than any of the other team members, and it makes no sense for me to do that or to try to tarnish my name in any way, or after me selling my company for a lot of money to try to run off with small bills. So none of those things realistically make sense, but those are snapshots from conversation we had. But I do feel like they're taken out of context, because when we're talking about some of the percentages and such, as far as tax goes, our tax structure is not super complicated. Essentially, just to go over it, but in a very nice brief overview, when money comes onto the platform, so when you first put money on the platform, on your account, it's going to show the money you put on there. It's almost like a centralized exchange or a custodial platform where the money you put on there, it reflects. But where it's at and what it's doing is it's not just sitting in an account somewhere. It's being utilized. And that's why you make the interest, is because your funds are being leveraged to make money with. Now, we wanted to make it as DeFi as possible. So because of that, we have to have a pool of just liquid funds waiting just in case somebody wants to withdraw funds. We don't want there to come back and say, oh, sorry, transaction can't go through or something like that. So we want to make sure that there's funds there. Things that were important to me and to the team was that your principal isn't locked up. You can pull your money whenever you want. You can compound your interest. We wanted you to have control of your money to the best degree that we could, without doing shady stuff like saying, oh, well, you have to wait 4 days and then the funds come. For you to pull your funds should be a 15-second transaction. And so I wanted it to be like that. I wanted you to be able to just go on there and go, nope, I need my money, and to do that. So the way we set that up is we said, okay, well, any money that comes onto the platform, 20% of it will automatically go into this side pool. Now, that doesn't mean that your account shows 20% less. It just means that physically the money is sitting in that liquidity. We're calling it like a liquidity pool, just in case there's withdrawals. The other 80% then goes to be available to be traded with the bots and utilize the strategies and such. So you might go, okay, well, what happens, if I don't have, if you're only trading with 80% of my funds, how am I going to make back, 2% on the full principal? Well, those things are not necessarily related, because whatever funds are on the centralized exchange, pretty much if you wanted 1% on, let's say, $1 million that's on the platform, and we needed to make 1% for everybody, in theory, you would just need to make $10,000, and that's 1%. So it doesn't matter if out of those $1 million on the platform, if only $50,000 is trading, which is 5%. If we can still make $10,000, everybody still gets 1%. So the way we achieve that is through using multiple trades and not just one trade is how you get that accomplished. So we have strategies, everything from trading every minute, and you jump in and jump out, triggered in and triggered off, and you hit your lick, and there we go. To ones that are bigger amounts, that you don't do as often, and so when those get triggered, those can happen. So there's different strategies, and obviously with different tokens and different liquidities, um, that is how it would make sense. Obviously, with something that has a real deep pool of money in it, like Bitcoin, that would be very advantageous to do bigger trades with, because it can take that liquidity change versus something that's a lot smaller that happens to be on that exchange. Let's say if Rodeo Coin or something like that, but let's say if they didn't have a tax on it, let's say Grove Coin, or something like that, which might not have a ton of liquidity to be able to take a $100,000 transaction to it or something. So obviously, all of those things go into considerations with that. So when the funds are made and they get, and interest on, daily gets pulled from the bots to pretty much be spread around, and for the investors to split the gains, the first piece that comes is to the devs, because the devs, one thing they did say on there is that they have not been paid, and that is absolutely true. I don't particularly believe in paying devs up front unless they have a proven relationship with me, because I don't want lollygagging around. I don't want incomplete work. I want quality work done. So I had no problem with our devs for Pulse being able to get a percentage of every dollar that's made, uh, and them being able to make that. Obviously, it encourages them to do a couple things. It encourages them to work every day. It encourages them to make as much money on the platform as possible. That way, they get to make more money. So if they can win, it really helps the investor be able to win. And so we had no problem doing that and creating a small amount where they can actually make some of that money. Does it end up adding up to be a lot? It can be, but granted, I'd like to line up a bunch of devs and see who can actually do what these guys are doing. There's not many who can do that successfully. So I thought that was a good trade-off financially for us, for them to get it working, and then pretty much they get a piece of the proceeds. But from there, depending on how much was made for the day, what percentage we pool, there's a reserve fund. And the reserve is to build up to not only back our platform, with the intention of one day being able to back it dollar for dollar, but the reserves also are there because if we have days of feast, if we hit really well for a couple days, it or for a day, because the market just moved right with our strategies, it makes sense that we put some aside, because there's going to be days where where you're just off, where it doesn't click. uh, we try to make these strategies be something that are successful regardless of whether the market's going up or down, but sometimes it gets triggered and then immediately goes the other direction, and you get caught in a bad spot. And the point is that we never once tried telling people that this is a perfect platform where no trades lose money. That is impossible. The goal is not that every trade wins. The goal is that you have a majority of your trades win, and the ones that lose, you minimize those losses, because any of you are familiar with trading, you'll have a strategy triggered, and sometimes it doesn't follow through the way it's supposed to. It'll go the opposite direction. As soon as it touches it, it'll trigger it and run the other way, and it sets the trap, and you end up taking a small loss, and those are just little tweaks that have to happen with the strategy. But so that you've got the reserve, you've got what set aside to the devs. Um, Originally, me personally, this bot was going to be just for me. I was having this bot put together just for me. I brought on devs that I thought were competent to be able to build this. I was going to give them a piece of the action and I was going to fund it myself. And this was going to be a nice way for me to make money for myself. But in the bigger picture of things, I saw how this could be beneficial for Vault. I saw how this could be beneficial for your daily investor who might not know what they're doing with the charts, but has the opportunity to use bots and strategies that professionals use to be able to make money with. So ultimately, I brought this to Vault. Now, before that happened, I personally paid tens of thousands of dollars in building this thing and putting and trying to put this thing together for the scale that I planned on using it for myself. Uh, so I put a small fee in there for myself to recoup what I paid, which only makes sense. Obviously the company should pay me back for what I personally paid to start getting this ball rolling. That only makes sense. That's only fair. But I wasn't going to take it out of Volt Finance's accounts. I was just going to take it from when the thing launched forward. That way, again, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt it didn't hurt Volt Finance's books or accounts. It didn't hurt Pulse. It was just make me whole. As this thing gets rolling. Um, Unfortunately, some of our team, didn't see it that way, and that was fine. So I pivoted from that, say, okay, you know what? I'll eat the amount and we'll move forward. And that way we don't even have to deal with it. And that's fine. Sometimes those are the decisions we make. I could have said, no, give me my bot and nobody's gonna play with it and I'm going home. I could have done that and I didn't because again, the bigger scheme of things is that I want our investors to be able to utilize this tool to do well for themselves. And in the crazy market we're in, I this is a great opportunity to be able to do that, a great opportunity for businesses to benefit from it. So ultimately, my small portion was taken out of there. So there's the devs, there's that with the um, reserves, and then you get to the part where Volt Finance taxes withdrawals. So at that point, Volt Finance, the whole point of this platform, besides everyone making money, is that Volt Finance needs to make money too, right? It's the business that built this. So there is a fee for withdrawing your funds. That fee is set up in a way to where there is a net positive gain on the chart because whatever is bought of Volt Finance tokens uh, by our platform to be given to you, if you turn around and sold it, it would still be a lower percent than what was bought by the platform. And so that, by definition, is a net positive gain. And then just to make sure that we even gave it more umph, made it even stronger, made it spicier, a percent of what goes to Volt Finance as the company is ends up getting turned into Volt Finance token and held by us. So it helps us as a company be able to almost do like a buyback and to have an accumulation of tokens as a company as well too. We also have a percentage for BUSD rewards, which helps to shower our investors, to give them an advantage for doing business on Pulse, but for being Vault Finance token holders in general. Not only does this platform create a ton of volume because it converts to Vault Finance token, but even in our fee structure, it creates, we have a percentage that goes to Vault Finance token holders as BUSD rewards. Again, it was important to me that the investors are able to hold Vault Finance token in their portfolio, long-term portfolio hold, and be able to get passive rewards from it. I think where some people got a little salty and that they don't like is that the platform converts it to Vault Finance token. It doesn't just directly convert it to Bitcoin or whatever. But my rebuttal to that is that why would I create something for Vault Finance's ecosystem and not use Vault Finance's token? That makes no sense. The whole point of our ecosystem is to grow. It's the market capitalization of growing the value of our token. That is how people are going to make money in this company. Yes, the passive rewards are great, but they are just rewards and they are just passive. I would like your bag that you're holding that you bought in the first place, that is what grows real big and fat, and you see dollar signs. So we incorporate the Vault Finance token. Now, again, that is a low tax situation to get Vault Finance token. But some individuals, they don't want to hold that token. They want to flip it to something else or whatever the case is. And so we bent over backwards to convert that to give an easy conversion to USDT, but it still has to touch Vault Finance token first, VFX, and then go there. Well, when you do that, yeah, that's a Vault Finance fee. That's a fee for pulling it off the platform. Then when you sell Vault Finance token, there's a sell tax, right? And then for it to convert to USDT if that is what you choose. But again, if that's what you choose, then that's the tax situation. No matter which way you cut it, whether the platform does it for you or whether you get Vault Finance token in your wallet and you manually do it. We just wanted to make it, again, an easy process for the investor. So that's where our fees come from. I mean, that's it. That's where they come from. That's the reason why they are set the way they are, and we stand behind that as a company. We've made some accommodations here and there so that we can grow the reserves quicker, because we want to have that backstop. We want to have a lot of reserves for safety reasons. Those reserves are not Vault Finance's, something that Vault Finance is putting in their pocket. It's something we're maintaining on the platform to create some cushion, and sustainability. So, with that being said, that's the very long answer to your short question. But I wanted to talk a little bit on the tax structure because there have been some people who had confused other people about the taxes and why it is. And it seems, our devs did say something along the lines that they felt the tax was too much. But the thing is the point is that, on average, when I'm doing the math on it, and on a 60-day contract, you're going to make, when we look at it, you're going to end up making 50% or more uh, interest earned on your principal, even when you subtract that percentage towards the fees or tax. Even if you try to do it the worst possible way, you still come out making money. So I wanted to have a predictable way that can happen for people, and despite people not liking the fact there's a fee, this platform exists for the reason of not just helping people make money, but also helping Vault Finance grow what its initiatives are, what it's doing, and its profitability, and being able to be sustainable long term. So hopefully that answers some of the questions there. But I wanted to make sure we went over that tax structure, because I don't think we in depth, although we had a diagram, I don't think we in depth spoke on the reasons why that those tax were there and why we split it a certain way on the platform.
I appreciate that, bud. Just to add, I'd like to think a good 95, 98% of investors would like to see Pulse reflected in VFX some way. So, I wouldn't worry about that too terribly much.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. That's kind of where I saw the line in the sand drawn. Was people, I mean, I get DM'd on the daily by different investors, and then people I've never seen before also, who I know are not Vault investors, because I kind of keep my eyeballs on who's behind, who's invested in Vault Finance, and who isn't. And it seems like that's where the line in the sand's drawn. The people who want to see it, the ability to have it by default benefit Vault Finance token, those are people that are holders in our community. And the ones who say, nah, 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 heck with that, those seem to be ones that are not invested in us but want to utilize the platform, which is absolutely fine. But at the same time, those people have to understand that we built this platform for a reason, and to benefit everybody, but to specifically make sure that it benefits our Vault Finance ecosystem. And then let's see, Chris, Meta Captain himself. How's it going?
Going pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Oh, it's another day in DeFi.
Another day in DeFi. So there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to keep my question fairly simple because you literally just implied it a moment ago again. So within like that little document your devs put out, they said that essentially there has been zero testing on like your bot on actual runtime, and of the little limited testing that there was over the 3 days, 2 of those days were losses. Just that alone, is that statement true? Because me and you have talked about this previously. We talked about it publicly, and you insisted that there was a long track record of success that brought in interest from hedge funds and venture capital.
Yeah, again, people won't back, insurance and these different things aren't going to want to back a platform that loses or costs money or isn't safe. So, just using deductive reasoning, it doesn't make sense that it wouldn't be trading. There has been some stop and go moments, though, because obviously when we were only on MEXC, when they pulled those APIs, we were just sitting there twiddling our thumbs, obviously. So because of that, we started to go down the route with Bybit being our primary. But we've got a bunch of trades though that occurred, and we had MAXC like working out with those strategies. But when we went to Bybit, that's what we were kind of waiting for MEXC, but also implementing the Bybit strategy, in doing that and having it back tested and all of that. The occurrence that they're specifically talking about that was lost was a certain piece in the strategy where it would get, I guess we would call it stuck, but it wouldn't sell in that specific situation. So in those small money trades that we made, until it got fixed, there were sells that were not compensated for. So I guess I would say that what they said is not true, but they definitely sprinkled in a nice storyline that kind of went with it.
Okay, but so your ultimate conclusion is though that that statement specifically is just absolutely not true, because it's like their claim is that there's no reasonable belief that there's anything above fractional profitability from the specific trading bot that they were implementing for you, and your statements and belief is that there's a minimum of 50% on principal profitability.
Yeah, well, with the part of their conversations that they didn't show was where they were telling us, hey, today was 6%, or today was 1 to 1.5% is what the way we're looking on this one. So again, if they were not being successful at what they're doing, just as well as I do, I would have definitely been on their back about what they're doing. The whole point of this was not to make things that are only marginally beneficial or not beneficial and not making money. That it makes no sense for our platform to do that and to wreck our company by producing something that doesn't produce results. So it did produce results. I still have to get with the team and talk to these guys as well too, to try to see what they are doing. They don't have any access to any funds or anything, but obviously we have access to our bot. And so, I still have to get with them on that. I just, my consideration first was for safety, and then after that for the investor. So that's the reason why, second step is us being on this call.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just still curious on like the fact that again, you've publicly stated and I've given you the benefit of the doubt that this is true, and I'm assuming now that it's true unless you say otherwise. Right, currently, you have a current historical track record, data inputs for months of trading with a success rate that deemed reasonable and worthy of having actual investor meetings outside of just the little DeFi public space.
Yes, we've got data. Some, like I said, some parts of it are choppy because of things we had to overcome and then optimize, with MEXC and things like that. But and then some of the things like arbitrage obviously hasn't happened because we have to have a presence across multiple centralized exchanges to start with arbitrage in the first place. So things like that haven't been implemented yet. But yes, there hasn't been losses. We haven't been losing people's money. We've been having trading occur with certain instances here and there where we've been changing things or making tweaks, or like in this latest case, while we're implementing the debit card, they were making a change to some of the foundational parts of the bot so that we could kind of widen the scope of the limits we can set and the different things we can do with it.
Solid. Thank you for your answers.
For sure. Does anyone else have any questions they want to throw out there?
Yeah, I got one more. How impactful is it that these guys are no longer helping us out, and where are you at on replacing them to be able to show substantial progress toward launching this thing?
Well, the thing is that we were sitting in a pretty good spot. I wouldn't feel that we would be in a safe position to launch it unless we had some people with some resumes and good track record to back it. Again, this only happened within the last couple of hours, so I still need to have conversations with these devs. There's obviously the potential of legal implications for what they're doing. I've already got some corporate lawyers that are going to chase people around. So, I mean, it's I still have to get to the bottom of everything. But like I said, the first piece was making sure the safety was there, that we had control of all the funds, that nobody was going to try to run off or anything. The second piece was making sure the investors know what's going on, what's truth, what's fact, and what's fiction. And then after that, I'm going to, then we're going to have conversations with these guys and, see what the exact motive is, and also, what the way forward is. There's other people that I've interviewed that I deem competent to be able to handle strategy, as well as the trading bot. Just I saw some unique abilities with some of these guys that were handling the bot side of it, but doesn't mean they're the only people who can do it. But I will have to, once I get to the bottom of it, I will have to get these other guys, get back in touch with them, see if there is a need for these other guys, or exactly who's doing what, who knows what, and what's happening, because I would right now I'm working under the assumption that they're all fired, they're all gone, period. But I know that there's two of them that have no clue what just happened. So I just need to get to the bottom of it. Sometimes it's better to just clip everybody than to just, try to decide which one's good and which one's bad. Sometimes you just, you cut the whole arm off if that's what needs to happen. But for me to be able to make a good decision on that and to be comfortable with that decision, I always make sure I have as much information in front of me, and then so I have to have conversations with everybody to make sure. So I need a little bit of time for that. When I kind of filter through what's what, then from there, if more people are needed, then I'll put more people on it based on the positions that they need to be, and then we'll start moving. Then we'll start moving forward again. We were not very far from launching this thing, but again, I've got to make sure that before we start speaking on timelines or exactly where we're at this exact moment and things like that, I have to make sure that I've got all the information and know which pieces are on the board still and which ones aren't, so we can move forward. I mean, this just happened within the last few hours, so I would assume that there could be that there would obviously be somewhat of a delay for Pulse. I would not personally assume that it's going to be months and months and months or something like that.
No, you're fine, but I didn't realize this all kind of just started right now. I figured maybe they are just now implementing their end of this. But no, do your thing, bud, and I kind of don't really see any reason to worry. So handle business.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna roll up our sleeves and get it done. So, any other questions? Anyone else want to ask any questions? There we go. There's Charlotte. Go ahead, Charlotte.
Hi, I have a question. So, in the document that provided by your debt, is that you in the mugshot?
Well,
Hello?
oh yeah, like I said, we've done KYCs, we've done background checks, we've done all of those. We've done all of those things. The only time this has seemed to be something that uh, that people are trying to make into something and come and attack me personally, actually started with another individual, and I don't know if that individual is. I don't know what happened to him. All I know is we mostly chased him out of this space because this same type of thing that he was doing to me, he was doing to others as well too with other companies. So um, I'm not going to speak on his mental health or anything like that, but yeah, this is kind of remnants from a certain guy's motives from before that just got thrown into this, I guess, to discredit me and to substantiate their position as being a somebody who's policing and looking out for DeFi or something.
Thanks. So, can you release the KYC to the public so people can see the report?
Yes, we actually have. We were KYC'd. Our core team was KYC'd as a team. So although we each individually had to pass it, and the background checks and everything, that was all together. So we have ones through Anonymous for our team, the members on our team, the core team. But since then, some people had been added, and things like that. And so in those cases, through our association with Anonymous, those people have been KYC'd as well too. So um, they should have their own little KYC. What is it? It's like an NFT. With Anonymous, they have like an NFT certificate. And then we have ours as well too from the initial core team. We were actually the last ones they did the manual way. So they actually had to do all the footwork and all of that stuff and put us through the ringer instead of it being an automated system like it is, like how they have it set up now.
Okay. Can you release the part you did to the public so we can see that and trust you?
Well, what do you mean by release the part I did? But what we receive is the KYC. So I mean, we've got the certificate that our KYC was passed, but that's all that we. I mean, that's all that we have. The only other thing out there is, or well, not even out there, but the only other thing with KYC would be if I gave people my passport or my driver's license or things like that. But you know, those are given to usually a third party. We used Anonymous. They interviewed us, facial recognition, each of us told us this is the instances that we're going to give this to local law enforcement to come get you. Uh, you know, and they took our documents to make sure we are who we are. And then they did the background checks and things like that. So, and then after that, they concluded whether we pass or not pass.
So would the non-doc will announce that you're not the person in the mugshot?
I don't know exactly what Anonymous would do, but because of privacy requirements and things like that, I think Anonymous probably wouldn't release different people's private information unless it's for authorities. But I think they can confirm the process more in depth than I can of exactly how they go through their KYC and background checks and what all is checked and what constitutes someone passing or not passing. That's all part of their system, so I can't really speak on it. I can just say that we were all put through the ringer individually and we passed as a team, which means each one of us had to pass those things. So I don't know if they'll vouch for that or not. They probably will. I mean, I would assume they would probably just direct you towards the KYC and say, "This is our process." We gave them KYC and passed them and background checked them, and they passed all of those requirements, just like how a job interview would be or something like that.
So even though you say you have passed, so can we see that it is you in the mugshot?
I don't understand what you're. I don't understand what you're asking. If it's me, you
Oh,
want
sorry. I
proof
mean,
or what?
even though you have passed that, so can you just answer that yes or no that it is you in the mugshot?
Yes, we have already. I mean, we've already been through this before. I don't want to add credibility to the guy who was previously trying to cause any sort of issues um, or anything like that. Uh, so, I mean, all I can say, all I've been told to say from both lawyers for our organization and also through talking to Anonymous was to direct you all to our KYC. I'll also let you guys know that I dox in every single AMA pretty much that we do. And that pretty much you don't have to go too far to see my credentials and LinkedIn and all of those things. So you know, I understand. I understand your line of questioning, and I respect that you want to get to the bottom of that. But please also respect the fact that I've jumped through a lot of hoops and I've done a lot of work to reach the level of credibility that I have. And I don't want our discussions to circle around whether Chris is a good guy or not, or whether Chris is a credible guy or not, because I think for most people, if not all people, I think they would realize that I'm a credible person in this space. And there's public information out there that proves that. So again, I don't want to discredit your questions or anything like that. They're sensible, down to earth questions that any person would ask. But at the same time, you know, understand that these attacks came from an individual originally. And I've done everything that should be done in this space to show that I personally come with clean hands and in good faith and in all the actions I do, and that I act on the best interest of not just the company but the investors as well too.
I just want to say, you can make a left turn on the wrong day in front of the wrong cop in America and end up with a felony. So I wouldn't put too much stock into any of that, Charlotte.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thanks.
Right. Thank you for the questions. And yeah, those are not those are not necessarily easy questions to have to deal with, but we have some investors in this room that know me personally in person in my personal life here in Dallas, and others that have met me. And I'm not trying to spend this time to toot my own horn, because again, this isn't about me. This is about you investors knowing what's going on and what's happening, and what's real and what's not. uh but at the same time, we did just get done pursuing someone who went down this same road, who thought, who was harassing other legitimate projects in our neighborhood. And for some reason, when they decided they wanted to come to me, uh, I hunted them down and took all legal recourse against them. And now they're not around anymore to be causing problems. So obviously, there's a legal component to it. For those reasons, that's why I can't speak on too much of those things, but I just direct you to our, KYC, our doxing, our backgrounds, all of that stuff, first and last names. We're very transparent with our company of who we are on the core team and what we do and what we stand for and everything. So I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that. Um, are there any other questions? Hey, Scott, go ahead. All right. And there's also one thing that I want to make a correction to. It was actually in response to uh, Chris, Meta Captain Chris's question. He specifically had asked if we had months and months of profitable trading data. Uh, we do not have months and months of profitable trading data. We do have data between the different places we were trading and things like that we have compiled. But yeah, I guess we're trying to be completely transparent. And so because of the stop and go and things like that, we can compile it. But if you want to go off of what we have had consistently and the latest, I would say it's somewhat negligible at best, because we did not continue trading uh, nonstop when we started to roll out this last debit card thing and things like that, and with Bybit. So I guess I want to go ahead and clear that up, because again, we're trying to be transparent in the different things that we're saying and stuff. But we do have quite a bit of data. I've dropped that data to a couple people who said that the bot's not actually trading, and some of these conspiracy theories. And I think someone even asked if the data, someone even asked if the data could be compiled to like a daily net gain, or to show what the daily return was. And when I showed them the data, they understood why something like that would take a long time, because the raw data of buys and sells, especially when you're doing it every minute, is a lot, and that is a lot to digest and compile into and turn into one pretty little number. So yeah, I want to go ahead and make that make people aware that I didn't want to misspeak on that, or people to take it a different way.
Yeah, thanks for
Crypto,
clarifying that. I
yeah.
appreciate that. I'm gonna say one more thing to that real quick. So interesting enough, the last time we publicly spoke about this was like 6 weeks ago. Is whenever you first announced all of this and you rolled out the sale, and that's actually when you told me, like then in that space, that you already had that data, and like then my guy Luca rebutted with another question for like, can you guys release and put that data out there? And you said yes, you would, and that was as far back as like 6 weeks ago again. Um, and at that point in time, you had said publicly, I'm sure that space is recorded and we can find it, that that information was robust and available because you were using that information to actually hold meetings and get funding from larger investors and hedge funds.
Yeah, that's not too hard to explain. A lot of these different people, and even when we're talking to the different insurance entities, brokers or underwriters or whatever, when we tell them the percentage of where we're aiming and where we're hitting, they thought we were lying to them. So I understand where you're coming from there. Their expectation is like 0.1% monthly or something, so they didn't really particularly at first glance they didn't really see that was going to be that there's no way that we could be making something robust like that, and I don't think they've seen some of the others in this space as well too, but to be fair, but yeah, we had data back then. The only kicker is the reason why we don't put that data to be the end all be all is because we were in the process of having to raise the amounts. At that point in time, we were not using huge amounts comparatively to after the pre-sales happened and there was more money. So it wouldn't be fair for me to include data that was based on maybe 50,000 or something like that versus data now or data that may be more uh, appropriate to reflect 700,000 or a million or something like that. So that's where it, and then on top of that, from the last 6 weeks, we've spent some time without those APIs, those MEXC APIs. So that's also not exactly a situation that helps us to look like there's a consistent day over day trading nonstop, which I feel is understandable. I mean, obviously, if the API goes down, there's nothing we can do about that. We're not going to randomly switch to different base pairs and start swinging for the fences. We're taking more of a conservative approach. So we just took that opportunity to start working on Bybit.
Oh, and you're fine. Like, for instance, this conversation we're having right now makes more sense. After the last meeting we had, I immediately told every single person that asked me, no, there's no possible way. Because, just simply put, if you had the data back then, 2 months ago, then you wouldn't need public funding or have any cause for it, because you would have all the money in the world from capital investment available to you at a quick drop of a hat. So, like, I knew at that moment in time there was no possible way that you actually had this robust data over an extended period of time with a proven bot trading method.
Well, and I mean, that's one side of the coin. The other side is that we're in DeFi, and so you're not going to find hedge fund guys or VC guys unless they're cowboys or they really want to. They're dealing with a lot of money, and they're going to take a small amount that they consider into a high risk, possibly high return investment. But you're not going to see somebody wielding 100 million or 20 million and decide to throw it all in there with us. So you know, on one side of the coin, you're right. On the other side, you know, you're not going to have everybody come running, because when it comes down to it, we're a startup. We're in crypto. Crypto has a bad rap right now. People are still got FTX bad taste in their mouth. You know, by definition, this is still a custodial platform, and we don't have years of data to show safety. We're just not comparable to the stock market side, you know, and those securities. So that's part of the reason why I'm aiming for security and beefing up the security and getting those seals of approval and insurance and doing business like that, where no one in this space does that, because we're trying to raise our credibility to be bigger than just crypto, bigger than just this neighborhood. But it takes us having some of those credentials and proving, you know, proving ourselves, proving our salt, so that those bigger investors that are wielding a lot of money will come in because they'll see the safety. They actually send brokers and hedge fund people to jail here in the United States for making a bad investment if it's bad enough, because they will say, oh, well, you tricked off with the money, or, oh, well, you know, you did this or did that. So again, just like how we have a fiduciary duty to our investors, those hedge fund guys, those guys that have that big money, usually they're dealing with people's, you know, a giant conglomerate of a bunch of people's investment funds, and they have a fiduciary duty to those investors. And so it's not appropriate for them to take a high percentage and to throw it into what would be considered a high risk because of the neighborhood we live in. But that's something that we're trying to change. That's something, you know, but that's not a today or tomorrow thing. That's something, those are building blocks that we put together to build, you know, something strong.
Thank you for your answer.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns, anything they want to throw out there for the group or for the team or for me?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Hey, we're handling business. Another day in DeFi. Still living the dream though. You know, we've got goals set, and you know, when things come up, or whenever we have obstacles, they're not going to stop us. Nothing's going to stop us. So
Yeah, they'll definitely come. I just wanted to know, is there anything that investors, you should be concerned about the safety of the funds or the confidential information, anything like that?
I don't think there's any concern, but I think definitely it created, or you know, I'm going to have to kind of test, you know, litmus test the community and the devs and have our core team talk about it. But I think it's, you know, things like this could possibly shake investor confidence. And so the only way, in my opinion, the only way to fix that is, you know, step one is what we're doing right now, having a voice call. And, you know, I'm not vetting questions or anything. People are throwing whatever is popped into their head at me, and just saying, this is what's going on. This is what's really going on. You know, things like that. The next piece is going to be, you know, we're somebody who deals with, you know, tangible results. We don't deal with, you know, we don't take a ton of stock in hype. We don't put a ton of stock in lip service. We're rolling up our sleeves. We're here to produce results. So I think probably the best step forward and a way to take care of that is that as we continue forward to roll this out, that we take some of the different, that we start to build, I guess maybe data that's already put, that we can put together in simple, digestible, understandable numbers, and that, we make sure that as we roll this out and as it goes live, that all of those things are in place. And that way, nobody can really question anything that we're doing. I think there's obviously some little spots where we left ourselves susceptible. And although I would say we're above reproach, because we do go out of our way to be transparent, that doesn't mean that somebody can't throw mud and it hits you. So I personally don't think there's anything to be concerned about. But again, I put my investor hat on first. And usually when these types of things come on, I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to expect answers, and I'm going to want to, until I feel comfortable again, I'm going to want to see the tangible evidence going forward. So I think that's something our core team's going to talk about, but I'm pretty sure that's something we're going to do. Again, we work transparently, we always have, we always will. And we want our investors to be comfortable with what they're doing with Vault Finance. So we're going to do what we have to do that. And I think that is probably going to be us showing people a little bit more of what's going on, and showing them the safety and security, and all of those different things that kind of add up to your due diligence on not just a company, but like doing business using a specific platform that company built.
One more thing, mate. Will this cause any delays in the Pulse relaunch? I mean, the launch.
I would say the simple answer is probably going to be yes, because our intention to launch was very soon. But I can't give you a definitive answer on that, because again, like I said, the most important thing, this only happened a few hours ago, and the most important thing up front was that the safety was there. So I made sure we all scrambled, got into our positions, make sure that the money's safe, nobody's going to try to bamboozle us or have over on us or steal or hack or anything like that. So that was number one most important thing. That's not only covering my tail, but that's covering Vault Finance and making sure the investors, nobody gets in a bad spot. Then the second thing was addressing the investors, because obviously there's misinformation. Obviously, people are talking behind closed doors, which is fine, but it's not it's something we need to address, and it's not something that we're going to hide from, because we don't have anything to hide from. So that was piece number two. But then what comes next is not only am I going to have a conversation with these devs, and inevitably probably pursue them legally, because they are dealing with an actual company, but we are going to we're going to also kind of see exactly what the lay of the land is, because I know that a couple of these devs are not involved with it. They weren't in the know of what's going on. But as a core team, we need to decide whether, if it's a poisoned well and we just need to throw rocks and dirt down it and call it a done well, and dig up some new strategists and people to work on Pulse, or if we see it as some of these people are still still usable. It's a conversation we're going to have, having conversations with them, having conversations with our core team, things like that. I'm not one to make rash, random decisions. I like to have a lot of information at my fingertips. That way I make an as informed as decision as possible, and make sure that our next step forward is a sure step and not a weak step.
Great, mate. I hope everything goes good again, and let's hope for the best.
For sure, it will. Like I said, when you hit, when you hit, not roadblocks, but when you hit certain things that kind of cause some, when you hit some things that cause a little bit of speed bumps, or cause you to have to deal with some stuff. Again, that's all they are. Nothing's going to stop us. So this platform is going to come out. We're going to make sure the right people are in place. We're going to make sure that they're KYC'd and all of those different things that we have to do to show that we're protecting the company, we're protecting the platform, we're protecting the investors, and then we'll release it. So there may be a delay from that if we do need to seek out new ones, but because this is so fresh, I'm trying to make sure I have all the correct facts. That way, if something needs to be done or new people need to come along, then we will head down that road and update everybody and let everyone know.
Great, mate. Cheers.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. Angela asked a question: if the developers haven't been paid, is there any legal concern over ownership of what's been developed? There's a potential, but really, this is something that we own. It was a forward. Their payment was set up to be forward acting. So, although typically in business you exchange consideration with each other, and that's what constitutes the initiation of a business deal. In this case, the consideration being money wasn't exchanged, but work and things like that. Those also constitute acquiescing to an agreement as well too. So I don't think there's going to be any issues of ownership of it. But again, we just need to get down to speaking with these guys, talking through some of this different stuff, and going from there. I can't I can't talk too much on that part until I know definitively who's doing what, who's where, what's going on, and then from there, that's when we can really plan the next step. This is real fresh within the last few hours, so we're just trying to kind of go down our tally of most important things, safety, the investors, and then we're going to start handling business internally how we have to, so we can get everything up and running. As far as, let me see if there's another one. Okay, I think those are all the questions I've been tagged in. Does any, oh, there we go. Funny Donald. Go ahead, Funny Donald, how's it going?
It's going good. I just have a suggestion. If there's any legal recourse that's going to happen, I strongly suggest that Franklin be involved and that they would have to withstand a huge amount of droppings coming out of Franklin. That's what I think. They did some not so nice things. So it's only fair that Franklin should have his due punishment upon them. That's what I think. It's strong.
We'll see. We'll see if they allow forms of pigeon torture or things like that. But Yeah, these things are going to happen, guys. That's the nature of this space. We try to extend the olive branch to different people that we feel are trying to do what's right in this space, because I feel like that's what needs to be done. No one company is going to take care of the world, or take over the world themselves. It's just crazy to think that if your company is going to be the be all, we're going to eventually, in my opinion, become conglomerates. We're going to team up together and form super ecosystems. The ones that play nice and are able to do that and build quality things, they're going to win. Ones that don't, they're not going to win. They're going to die or get absorbed. That's just my personal opinion. So, I try to make sure we make good partnerships, that we try to although the partnership might not be completely serving to Vault Finance's every whim, there's something in there that benefits us and benefits them, and we're just in a spot where some of these people we're working with, they just didn't see it the right way, or the same way. I'm not gonna say the right way, but they didn't see it the same way. They obviously there could be a possible conflict of interest of them maybe wanting to do something themselves. I don't know. I can't really speak too much on that, but for Vault Finance, we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep building, and we're just going to we're going to figure out exactly what's going on, move forward, handle our business. I mean, that's it. I think there was another question. Somebody tagged me in here. Can someone ask if there is any indication of sabotage on the way out by the devs? Yeah, I would say that pretty much posting of half truths and random stuff and trying to create a storyline. I would definitely call that sabotage, in my opinion. Yeah, that's definitely sabotage, in my opinion. But again, even though we work with other people that are doing contract type work or helping here or there, it still doesn't mean that we don't watch our back and that we don't put safety measures in place and make sure that people, for one, come into the light. That's something that I'm having to field more regularly now, is people who don't want to KYC, who don't want to be known in this space, but if they want to do business with Vault Finance, uh, that's just what we believe in, is that people have to come into the light and do business. It's one thing to be an investor and have to be anonymous and to be private, and I absolutely agree with that. But the minute you start, taking investor funds to grow something or do something, you start operating as a business or things like that, you're no longer privy to that kind of privacy anymore, because you're operating as an entity, and you're operating as a fiduciary of other people's funds. So um, other than that, let's see, has this question about refunds been answered? um, do we still can we still have the choice to have a refund for the money on Pulse? So yes, anyone who wants a refund, DM someone from the core team. We'll get you the specific document for that. We're kind of doing them in little bunches, so no big deal with that. Uh, and with the form's easy to fill out, and we'll take care of anyone who wants that. We don't have any problems with refunding people who want a refund, or things of that nature. Um, other than that, I think I think that's pretty much it for that one. Let me see if there's anyone looking to ask a question. If there's any other questions, does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask? There we go, Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Going good. I just had actually got sent the statement that I guess is the reason for this VC being open. Who put this together?
Well, this is going to end up, in my opinion, this is going to end up becoming a legal matter. So usually whenever I bring this to any of my legal guys, they say, be careful what you say. Don't throw mud around. Don't point fingers or anything. Let them do the finger pointing. So pretty much we just, this was something that was put together by our dev team that is handling Pulse. So yeah, now who's specifically involved with that, I don't know. You know, like I was saying on earlier on the AMA, my first priority was making sure that Vault Finance and funds and Pulse, all the money's safe, all of that stuff's safe, because we're accountable for that. And then after that, making sure that the investors are brought in the loop of what's going on, and that way, and answer whatever question under the sun they might have.
Sure. Okay. I understand that. Thanks.
All right. Are there any other questions from any of the investors? And I'm being told, I guess whoever is I guess whoever was, I guess, publicly wanting to put this stuff out there, I believe I'm being told that they put their names on and attach them to the documents. So again, I'm not gonna go chase that. There's people who get paid good money to be the sharks that go chase that type of thing around. That's their job. My job's making sure this company makes it, and that we don't just make it, but we don't just survive, but we thrive. So that's going to be my focus. We'll let the suits handle that and do their whole side of it, and everything will get along. Any other questions? Okay. I'm not seeing that there's any other questions on here that I can see. I do know that the Cypher Overlord in our chat needs to get checked. That is that's a alternate ID of one of our devs. So if one of you guys will take care of that. And other than that, if there's not any more questions, I'm gonna going once, going twice. Questions, comments, concerns. If you guys have anything, we're here to answer things to the best of our ability. All right. Let's see here. I'm not sure which one you were first, so we'll just go down the line. Shilling Lord, go ahead. All right. I guess not. All right. Michael, go ahead.
All right. I posted a question earlier, and it was quickly deleted. I was asking about Chris being were you a pharmacist prior to this?
Was
Yeah.
I what?
Were you in pharmacy prior to doing this in your past life or earlier in life? I caught the last end of this.
I
So,
got you.
yeah.
Well, I've got a dual degree and then a couple short of a business, but I was working mainly for pharma. So I guess there is association to pharmaceuticals, but that's mainly like drug delivery systems and different things like that. Not particularly uh, some patient care, but that wasn't the main. I guess that wasn't my main scope of practice, but I do have
Right.
family as well. So
I mean, the statements and documentation that were submitted, I'm assuming, was negative. If and you, I mean, you do Anadox, KYC, and all, but with your name out there, I mean, it would be if there was any truth to anything or any kind of criminal background or whatnot. I mean, a free public search would, or not even free. I mean, it's like 99 cents. You could do a background check on someone, and if you wanted to find out the information being factual or whatever bullshit. Correct? I mean, I could go right now on some background search, or I could just call my brother who's in law enforcement, and he could do a background check, see if what's being stated is the fact or not. Correct?
well, I don't know exactly how they do their background checks or anything like that. But like I said, we've passed KYC as a team. Those who get added to the team, they get KYC'd as well. These specific individuals, we hadn't had the opportunity to KYC them yet, but because they had just been added within the last week tops. So, but yeah, I mean, we don't hide our public information of who we are or what we've done or where we've been or anything like that. That's just something that we do as a core team.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if the information that was provided with the whatever statements, a mugshot or whatever I was hearing someone talk about earlier, if it was factual, all one would have to do was spend $1 or whatever online to do public search, because that would be public record. I mean, it's something you really just can't hide. Especially here in the United States, you can't just take public record and make it disappear. Well, maybe some people can, but majority of us can get away from that. I mean, if you had a speeding ticket, it'll tell you. I mean, you pay for it. It'll tell you if there was an arrest record. It would tell you. So, with your name being out there, that if anyone had any doubts or anything, they could, always do a public search, public record search, and it would show if that mugshot that was mentioned or whatever that mugshot was for was indeed true. That's what I'm saying. Not what Anadox or any of these other, people have done. I mean, everybody's human. I mean, I'm not saying they do or do not do it right, but I'm just saying public record for us, a public search would provide the information the majority of the time.
Yeah, I think that's true. I haven't ever messed with any of those public search things, but I mean, pretty much everything's on the internet, so that type of information, I'm sure, is on there. So
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's pretty much all I have.
okay. All right. Well, thanks. Let's see. Does anyone else have any questions? And I guess I had missed your question in there somewhere, but let's see. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Scott, we can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last time. Yeah, can you give us any updates on Sifter? Will that now move up in the timeline?
I'm going to have to talk with the core team about that. Typically, business-wise, just off the cuff, it wouldn't be smart for us to change the focus off of one product and switch it to a second one unless there would be a sizable delay or something like that. That's just a marketing. That would be a kind of a marketing faux pas. But I think we're I think in a good enough position that we can go ahead and stay focused on Pulse. But yeah, Sifter's one that's going to be coming out here pretty soon, and I'll also talk to the team and see if maybe when would be appropriate for us to give the full details on what Sifter can do as well too, because I know we haven't, besides a teaser video and some talks here and there, we haven't really given the full scope of what it does.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for all your hard work.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, there we go. Casey, go ahead. Oh, Casey, go ahead. You can unmute yourself though.
Oh, my bad. I was just sitting here talking to myself. I wanted to start off by saying I fully 100% back this project. I have since day one. I will continue to do so. I was curious though, with delays and all this stuff, if there was like any possible way to do like maybe a soft launch on Pulse for like the pre-sellers or anything like that. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, that is essentially what we're doing. That we're going to do. We didn't necessarily want to have everybody come up on day one, mainly for the reason that when the contract ends, everybody ends on the same day, and we didn't really want to have. I mean, just like how I explained, the liquidity pool that's sitting there for people to withdraw and stuff. We didn't want to have a situation where everybody on the same day goes to withdraw their funds from the contract and drain that pool. The funds would all be there, but we would have to pretty much pull all the funds off the centralized exchange to do that, because that's, well, I guess not all, but a percentage of it off. And obviously we want to continue to keep that trading, so it's in the best interest to pretty much scale people on, and that way you get a stair stepping off. So yeah, pretty much the private sale, and we intended for the private sale and VIPs to go first on normal Pulse, and then the pre-sailers, and then it to be open for public for anybody to come on in. So that is something that we're stair stepping as it is. That's the plan. I mean, I think the only situation where something like that wouldn't happen is if we refunded a significant amount of funds, and in which case it would not make sense for us to stair step it because it's a small enough amount.
Okay, awesome. And another question was, are we gonna get any teasers on this debit card?
I think so. When the time, when the time comes up, I think we will give everybody the full gist of where it's at. I don't think what we kind of have planned coming, and part of the reason us having it kind of tied to Pulse, some of those possibilities, and what we're kind of posturing to possibly happen. I don't think we'll talk about that piece of it yet, But as far as the debit cards themselves, I think there's already quite a bit of information on, the maximum amount that can be on there and things like that, and kind of what that whole setup looks like. But when it gets down to specifics, when we go to refresh it and bring it up to where people can start to apply and get it, I think we'll be sure to make sure all the bells and whistles, everybody kind of knows the bells and whistles associated with it.
All right, cool. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Oh, Money Magnet Man. Jamaica himself.
Yo, what's up, man? What's up, Chris? Good evening, everybody. Now, one of the thing I hate the most that I kind of find myself doing a lot recently is basically cursing when I text in a lot of groups because I'm just so frustrated with how this space has been acting. You know, a lot of people are messed up. A whole lot of people, devs, trying to mess up people. I mean, uh, uh, just the space is just filled with a lot of crazy people, bro. And I'm just saying, yo, I'm just excited to know that, you know, you have a friend, and if I'm the only one who is going to stand up here and have your back, I don't have any reasons to doubt who you are. I don't give a shit about your past, whether it is true or not. Um, from an investor perspective, you've never let me down. Personally, my investments from day one until now, I haven't found reasons to doubt you or what you stand for. I respect what you stand for in this space, and you've been very transparent with us. Your personal life does not have to be transparent because we did not invest in your personal life. You understand? I think everybody who's launching a contract, the most people want to know is that it's audited, it's KYC'd, and we're good. And once the audit is good and the KYC, who gives a fuck what the dev's past life was or is? At the end of the day, I just want to make sure that my investments are secured and safe. And for anybody who is here who is trying to, because you have a lot of people who like to nitpick and come with the drama. I don't give a shit about the drama. I respect you as a developer. And I'm here in the space. I've invested. As a matter of fact, at one point I was your top holder, and some people don't even know that. I had like 15 freaking wallets because when everybody was dumping and giving up, I was buying it up. Yeah. And I'm gonna say this: I am here to support the project. Anybody who wants their refund, that's fine. Just send me some free tokens, and I will buy what I can buy after that. That's all I have to say, man. Love you.
Yeah, well, I definitely appreciate the kind words. They say you got to have a tough skin for, thick skin for business. That's just how it is, because when you start talking dollars and cents and money and stuff, it affects people. People act differently than how they normally are. A lot of people do. And so the space is competitive, it's growing. There's wide open pastures, but there's people who want to stake a claim in it, and I completely understand. And the things that we build can be threatening to other people and what they're doing, and it is what it is. And either way, for me, that's just blood in the water that we're doing what we're supposed to do. If I had nobody concerned, if we had nobody concerned with or nitpicking what we're doing and why we're doing it, things like that, it shows that there's no eyes on us and nobody really cares what we're doing or what's going on. But the fact is that we're trying to build something great. We're trying to make a difference. We're trying to work with good people, and some people don't like that. They want to see, they want to see a train wreck. They don't want to see this space make it. And it is what it is. But either way, for me personally, it doesn't stop me. It doesn't, this isn't the first time I've had to deal with people who have something to say about my company, or they want to say, oh well, this isn't as good as what you think it is, or blah blah blah. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I've got a track record of taking market share from the big boys and building something from scratch. And so that's my MO. That's what I do. And our team is on board with that. Our team's hungry to build something big too, build something that makes a difference. And so, you know, all of us work together to accomplish that. And so I definitely appreciate your support. You know, this space is tough. It's tough for a lot of different reasons. And it's tough for a lot of people, whether you're investors or running a project or you're on the sidelines just watching. It's not an easy place. And so you really got to be strapped in tight. And it's always easier when you have a great group of people. I would say investors, but I'm talking about people, the actual people that are the investors, the people. You know, to have a great set of people around you that see your vision, see what you're trying to do with it, support it. And you know, those are the people that keep us driving day after day to make this thing bigger and to grow it into a monster. You know, those are the people you want to see, the ones that believed in you and believed in your core team and what you're trying to do. Those are the ones you want to see really make a lot and benefit a lot from the company that you're building. So we definitely appreciate it. And I speak on the rest. I can speak for the rest of the team too. I know we all appreciate the support, and we talk about it. I take a lot of the opportunity that I can in the AMAs to talk about what a great community we have and just great people involved. So thanks a lot, Marvin. That's great. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome, bro. And I admire your maturity. I think above everything else, Chris, your maturity. I remember day one when you had the issues and with the contract and find out that those devs were trying to sabotage your project, and you were in the VC all day. Video VC. You weren't even there with just your voice. You were there, live video chat, and you were just there answering the questions, going through the tough times, um, getting ready to give people their refunds and shit. And I mean, I've just watched you gone through it, and you rose above it, and look at you again. Just another obstacle, another hurdle for you to jump over. And I'm just really proud about the maturity. I love the way you are dealing with this. I really respect that. Says a lot about you, man. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate it. Definitely. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anything we can field for you guys? Okay. All right. Well, it's obviously it's for me it's 7 p.m. It's already been a long day. It's already been taxing for other reasons, but then this whole thing definitely uh definitely is another fun thing to have to deal with. So we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it in the background. That's what a company has to do. So we'll make sure that we keep you guys apprised of what's going on and what's developed as it's developing, as always. And we will, we'll make sure everyone's informed. In the meanwhile, if any questions, comments, concerns, anything comes up, as always, you can DM me directly. You can DM any of the other core team if you're comfortable with them. Either way, if it's something that you post in the chat and there's no answer to it or something, it comes directly to us, and we get those answers to you as quickly as possible and as accurate as possible too, even if we have to have a meeting over it. So always feel welcome to ask your questions, always feel welcomed in our community. As always, I always ask people to be professional. We're professionals. Our expectation is that you are investors and that you are professionals. We've got thick skin. We can take criticism. That's absolutely fine, but just make sure it is of the constructive variety. We want to make sure that if there's something you have to say and voice, please do. Just make sure it is constructive and professional in how you conduct yourself, and everybody will play nice. So with that, I'll go ahead and close up the chat. I appreciate you guys sitting through it, and you know, taking the time to digest what we're talking about in the AMA, and you know, taking the time to look at everything from the full scope, and not just from, you know, one side that might be slinging mud around. Right before I close it up, Mason, Lee, Ross, Matt, and anything else you guys think we that I missed, or that we need to add, or anything that's burning a hole in you that needs to be said? Okay, I guess not. All right, guys. Well, I'll go ahead and as soon as this thing is done downloading, I'll post it in the main chat for any of you guys who missed any of it. And when, you know, that way you can go through it if you want to. We'll post it, pin it. And in the meanwhile, yeah, if any questions, feel free to ask us. And you guys have a great evening, day, wherever you are in the world. Thanks, guys.